Hi, I'm Renee, and this channel is Renée. Today, I thought I would pop on here and tell you about my story of how I made the decision to move to France, how I finally decided to choose my dream. I had carried a lifelong dream of living in France. I was connected to France through heritage. My great grandparents had emigrated from here and many moons ago. Um, and I had always carried this dream with me of living in France. And I think over the years, I just assumed that there would be a time that it would come. It would be the time that would allow it to happen. And, and life gets in front of you. You know, I marriage, marriages, children, their needs, everyone else's needs begin to happen. And, suddenly, sometimes the dream seems very far away. And in 2023, my beloved passed suddenly, and um, and his death just brought me to my knees. Um, I wasn't sure how I was going to navigate life again. Um, I just It was through his passing that I realized many how many dreams I had for us, um, for our life together. We had talked just when we started dating. I had asked him if he would be willing to move to France, and he said that he would after the kids had graduated, and we would never have that dream together. Um, and then in early 2024, um, my father had been on dialysis for a long time, and he had always said that when he lost his independence, he would choose to stop dialysis and therefore bring his life to an end. And toward the end of January, he was losing that independence. And he called me on a Monday morning and said, I could barely make it in under my own power to the dialysis center this morning. He said, I want to talk to the doctor on Wednesday, but it may be time to stop this. And um, it was a powerful choice that he was making. And I knew that. And I knew I wanted to show up fully in support of him if he made that choice. And so we agreed that he would talk to the doctor on Wednesday and he would call me and let me know. And on that Tuesday, I had a conversation with a friend uh, who had reached out because she had an opportunity um, um, with a prior client in France. And at the time, I'm like, this is unusual timing that I'm waiting to hear from my dad. We may be looking at him, leaving this planet, and France makes itself known to me. And so it's just a noticing on that day. And sure enough, the next morning, my father called me very early and told me that he was officially stopping dialysis, um, and he was starting hospice care. So I packed a bag, got on a plane, and went to Michigan. Thankfully, my daughter was able to go with me. And for the next um, 9 days, we had the most amazing um, celebration and transition of my father's life on this planet. For seven solid days, um, all of the people who loved him so much, and there were a lot of them, um, came to the house, and he was feeling good until just that last like day and a half. Or at least if he wasn't feeling good, he wasn't showing it, and he wasn't letting it on. um, and he was just like the master of ceremonies. People coming in and them telling stories of their lives and how their lives were connected, and my dad really getting to celebrate um, all of his relationships, all of his experiences. It was just a beautiful thing to watch. And on that, we had set up a hospital bed and everything in one of the back bedrooms, and and through those first 7 days, he had wanted to just sleep out on the couch. He was more comfortable out on the couch, and so he slept out on the couch. And on that seventh day, um, in the evening, he's like, I feel like I need to go sleep in the bed tonight. And um, yeah, that was really, um, by that point, all of the people who had needed to come and say goodbye had gone through 7 days straight of people. And and then it was really in that next day and a half that he declined. Like he declined. He was sleeping an awful lot, and and he passed away shortly after midnight on the ninth day, um, in a just very peaceful in his sleep. And um, it was just the most powerful experience of him choosing how he would go, choosing how he wanted to say goodbye to everyone. Um, just the most powerful embracing of transformation that I can think of. I'm so grateful for getting to witness and hold space for all of it. Um, every minute of it. I would not have changed a thing of it. There was just that much power in that. And and we got to, a few days later, have a celebration of life for my dad the exact way he wanted it. Um, and um, and then I returned to Southern California. His wife, the night of his passing, went into the hospital with pneumonia, and she ended up passing a month later, a month after he did. Um, but a few weeks after his passing, a call with that client actually occurred. And during that call, they expressed that they did have a need, and but they really wanted to they wanted a company who could contract directly with their French entity. And I didn't even know if, as a US company, if I could do that, how I would do that, what are the tax implications of doing that. Are there, surely there would be French tax implications of doing that, and particularly if any of that work was done on French soil. I, in no way, because I had this lifelong dream of living in France, I wanted to make sure that it was absolutely above board and followed every rule that the French government might have. And so I didn't even know if that was going to be possible. And they weren't sure either. So we ended the call with the agreement that I'd do some homework, they'd do some homework, and we would talk again in a couple of weeks. And So that next weekend, I went down a rabbit hole and on Google and YouTube and all of the things. And I ended up finding a video on this channel called Baguette Bound, who's Jason and Raina have that channel. They're Americans who moved to the southwest of France. I think it's almost 3 years ago now. And Raina had interviewed a woman, Valerie Aston, um, who's French, and Valerie runs a company helping um, expats come to France who want to start a business in France. And so I went to Valerie's website and saw that I could book a consulting hour with her. So I booked that for the next Tuesday, March the 7th, and I had a call with Valerie and I explained to her the situation. I have a US corporation now, um, and really looking to see if I could work with a French company. What would that take? And she actually walked me through the visa options that I had and the visa options that would allow me to create a French company. And I'm like, you mean I can create a French company as an expat? And I was like, absolutely. And she talked me through the steps, and I'm like, wow, like, okay. So I remember hanging up the call that day and suddenly realizing that all of the obstacles that I had always put between me and choosing my dream of living in France were gone. I no longer had to worry about caring for my dad. I was an empty nester. My kids were on their own, and um and you know, certainly able of um navigating their own life without me being in it every day. Obviously, um, there were things to consider in how we would maintain our relationship and all of that, um, to factor in, but there just wasn't the obstacle there anymore. And and then suddenly I also found out that I could start a French company. I could work in France. Um, Not just could I work in France, it would also make me eligible for French healthcare. Like that was just mind blowing to me. And I remember hanging up the call and sitting there and realizing that all of the obstacles that I'd always put in place that kept me from going, well, the dream of living in France, we have to wait until this is done. We have to wait until that is done. None of it existed anymore. Um, so I knew in that moment that the only way my dream was going to happen was if I actually chose it. Like it just wasn't going to magically appear one day. It, in the way I think I thought it might. I don't know what I thought growing up that how it would happen, but I suddenly realized that there were no obstacles keeping me from choosing it. And it was in that moment that I remembered a video that Jason and Raina had posted on their channel of the moment that they got where all of the analysis had been done, all of the spreadsheets had been thoroughly, you know, um, calculated and explained, and they got to that point of, okay, like, while we can't have possibly have all of the answers, we've got as many answers as we can have. If we don't do this now, when would we do it? And in that moment, sitting at my desk, looking out at the Pacific Ocean, realizing that all of the obstacles were gone, I remembered that question: if not now, then when? And I thought to myself, I'm not getting any younger, and there's no obstacles. And having been through so much death in that year prior, I just thought to myself, if I get to my deathbed and I haven't done this, I haven't chosen it, I put it aside, how am I going to feel about that? And I knew in my heart of hearts that I would have regretted it. Like, I would have deeply regretted it. And it was in that knowing that I knew I had to make the choice. So I remember turning and looking at Paolo, my little Italian Greyhound puppy, who at that point was, oh, he was only 5 months old at that point. And I told him, we're moving to France, Paolo. And he was the first one I told, because he was right there. And then I talked to my kids later that day. Um, and um, and thankfully their reaction was, well, duh, Mom, you've talked about this your entire life. We just assumed that one day you would tell us that you were going. Um, and thankfully, we've been able to work out regular Zoom calls and WhatsApp calls, and really stay very connected, regardless of the distance between us. So, um, yeah. So I carried this dream my entire life, and dreams just don't happen. You have to choose them. And so it was on that day that I made the powerful choice to take the first step and choose my dream, knowing that I couldn't see the bottom of that first step. And I didn't know if there would be another step to catch me. And yet there was. And with each step that I've taken, um, it's really been transformational, because with each step I've taken, I've gained more confidence to take the next step and the next step and the next step. So as I record this today, I have just celebrated my 1 year anniversary of being in France. Um, I am on the cusp of having my 4 year visa renewal process completed. Um, and I've got a French company. I've continued to work. I've continued to thrive. And I have an amazing friend community that has stayed with me through this process in the US, that I stay in touch with, and we have visits and all of that. And I've built an amazing community of both English speakers and French people here in France. Um, I have done a lot in the last year, and I'll save that for a video for another day. But the growth through this change and transformation has been incredible. So I want to bring some of those learnings to my work in the world, and begin working with individuals more deeply through transformation and change, and choosing your own dreams, um, making sure that, well, helping in whatever way I can to um, to tell people not to wait. Don't wait. Um, I was um, I was 61 when I moved to France, um, and I should have done it decades earlier. Um, yeah. Um, Whatever your dreams are, don't wait. Choose them. Work through the fear. Embrace courage, and take the first step. um, ask yourself the question, if not now, then when? Okay. I hope you liked and subscribe and follow along on this journey of more transformation and change. And I will see you in the next video. A biento.